People, here we are, back at Can't Always Win. It's Mike Wahle. Thanks for watching. Check us out on our YouTube channel, Process Reform. Subscribe, rate, review, do all that stuff. Check out the videos. Check out the clips that come on. After this, there'll be block party clips. We'll break down each individual part of the game. Check me out, Mike Wahle68 on Twitter, Process Reform, and Instagram. My show is always sponsored by Bet Online, the world's most trusted betting platform, your number one source for online betting. The earliest odds to in-game live betting. Online provides betting. BetOnline provides you with all the action and ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds and everything from football, NBA, NHL, to entertainment and political props, head to BetOnline today to get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline. The game starts here. The thing that so the Detroit comes in, and for whatever reason, I think they played indoor or on turf the entire year. They go into the outdoor, and they talk about before the game. I think Tom Brady talks about how, DC's up there talking to those guys. Make sure you're wearing the right cleats, whatever the clothes you got to wear. Go out and check everything. They're better in the weather than the Packers. They throw the ball better. They certainly catch the ball better. They're coming in and out of breaks better. These was two very good teams in really bad conditions, and sometimes that overshadows the actual game. Lions end up winning 24-14. And here's the thing that I can't figure out. Green Bay comes in and looks stellar running the ball against the two safety box. So Detroit starts with, they go to 4-3, but they're putting the fifth guy on the line. But they're really just running a two safety high box. There's a space in there. We're able to crack block down on that. And I have it up here. I broke the game down into runs and passes. So you look at the passing side, the play 3, 5, 8, 9, 14, and 19 are all passes. The rest are runs. Talking about the Green Bay offense. So we're running the football. I think I think Jacobs has 76 yards, 84 yards, something like that. Early in the game, first quarter. Then for whatever reason, and the quarter's going fast, we start throwing the ball over the yard. Here's the next sequence. 21, 22, 25, 26, 27, 29, 30, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 39, 40, 41, 42, 44. 44, 45, 46, 49. What happened to the game plan? What happened to the kids? So he Josh Jacobs now ends up with 95 yards on 13 carries. He has 80 yards in the first quarter. The Lions come into the game running a ton of man coverage. So naturally what you're thinking is, all right, they don't really have a pass rush now that Aiden Hutchinson's gone. Aleem was going to have success against our interior offensive line because he's just better than our guards when Elgin Jenkins is playing center. But they're going to chip out, slide the protection, and you think we're going to get all these deep developing routes against this man coverage. So quite frankly, as you watch every other game, is open to being thrown on. Problems come up because, one, we can't pass the ball and catch the ball early on, and that kind of breeds some anxiety both from the individual player but also from the play caller. And two, I think sometimes you come in with a game plan and then all of a sudden it's raining cats and dogs and you're like, I think we can still make it work. Where it's obvious, I think, to anybody watching the game that the advantage was in Green Bay, much more so running the football with Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs was playing really well in that first quarter. He played well the whole game, but he was playing really well in the first quarter. So, unfortunately, you get to the rain, throws a wrench in the mix. We're throwing a ton of checkdowns because they're really playing like a shell, running a lot of cover 4. And we drop the passes. We have errant passes. Love plays, smart football given the situation until he doesn't. Until he has the pick 6 on the 2-minute drill. 23 of 39, 273 yards passing. The no touchdown to 1 interception. He dropped back, somewhere 41, 42 times in the rain. That's an interesting call for me. Not that they're not capable of doing it, but given the factors, when you look at the lights and the rain coming down in front of the lights in that game, I look at that and I go, oh my God, that's going to be so much fun to play in because that's such a funny running the ball environment, some key passes, some checkdowns, some guys are flat, guys in the middle. Maybe Texas had a couple screens, and they just couldn't get going. They just couldn't finish the drives. And again, a lot of handling the football was such an issue. And it's always surprising when the team that plays outdoor in bad weather is the one that's having such problems handling football. And if we'll go back and particularly at the end of the game, you watch on Jenkins snaps, maybe one of those you want back, but the rest of them are not necessarily on him, given the situation. The pick six in particular to go in 2-minute drive at the end of the half to switch the field. I mean, really, I think it's 10-3. It turns 17-3, and we're going to 2-minute drive. Jaden Reed turned the corner or safety around. He's wide ass open across the middle of the field. It's kind of when it rains, pours day. The Packers were game for the Lions up front, I think, offensively. The Lions are good, but they miss Hutchinson. I think that's going to bite them in the ass if they win when they get into the playoffs. Let's watch some tape on these guys. It was a fun game to watch. I mean, these games are sloppy, but they are fun to watch, man, because it's some pure aggression. And if you have the right cleats on, you can still do some damage. Let's start out first with Tucker Kraft and Ben Sims. Put in some work, boys. Setting the tone. So I love this. 91 is, a 295-pound elephant end or 290-pound elephant end. Does a great job of standing up, talking about Tucker Kraft. Ben Sims does a good job on the 53, the pass rush linebacker. And it's just a fantastic way to start the game. We get good movement everywhere. And again, they're playing kind of a two safety box and they're dropping early. But we have the numbers advantage if the tight ends can hold up on single guys. Now, the defensive end's job in this world, I'll say this to my grave, is to defeat a tight end. And there's just not that many tight ends in the game anymore, like Mercedes Lewis, that are just literally there at 285 pounds built to overpower the defensive end. Like these are not those guys. So Tucker Kraft and Ben Sims, we might have found the duo. These guys are really getting good and impressive at this part of the game. Now, chicken salad, man. We talk about Josh Jacobs' ability to make chicken salad all the time. So Tucker Kraft sips on the backside, goes up to the second level. Jordan Morgan this is what we just call position blocking. So you kind of throw the guy out, and then you really have told the back you can't go out here anymore. You think you've done a good job, but really you've cut off half the field. Jacobs goes immediately back to see the defensive end crashing down, pops this outside, spins out, and then ends up getting another 10 yards downfield. He is really, really a good football player. Love this 3rd and 1 play. So the reason this was such a big deal was if you line up under center, obviously they walk their guys up. But when you go in motion, I think we've seen the Chiefs do this. When you go in motion, and all of a sudden we almost get an offsides here, but we go in motion, you just drop the tight end in and do the quick sneak. First of all, nobody's really ready to play ball because there's a tight end right behind the center. And 2, linebackers can't get to the A-gaps in enough time, and you just have this surge all of a sudden. Fun play call. We got 2 backs in the early windows were open, and this is, I'm sure Matt LaFleur is looking at this and going, okay, if they're going to play, they're playing 4 on the high side, but they're playing man down beneath, at least man at the first level, man match. Every window's open here. And so I'm sure if you're the play caller, you're thinking to yourself, I got time because I'm not necessarily going to get rushed, although he looks like he's getting rushed a little bit here, but I'm not going to get that. I don't have that Aiden Hutchinson to worry about. And I have all these windows open. And of course, Robert, God, I almost said Robert Brooks, 87 Dobbs, does such a good job for a couple of weeks in a row now, especially on that slant, and really did a good job of creating a stem there and then breaking off the stem. So kind of a 2-part move for him on the inside slant. No traction issues. Look at the speed and then the decel, and just appreciate the athleticism of Christian Watson here. Now, Tom Brady says, I can come down the stem a little bit more. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, you have to make that a little bit easier clash, but great hands, no traction issues, no problems with the rain. Love the play speed here. So Elton Jenkins playing center out of position does a really good job of just getting to the edge and then trying to square back up and press. And this play is really made, though, by the backside. Rasheed Walker just almost looks like he's offside. He's so fast off the ball, but ends up hooking the backside B, the backside 3 technique on the B block, and really pushes Jordan Morgan into the linebacker. Look at the play speed here on the backside by 63 though. Just, I mean, he's there way too fast. Pushes Morgan to the linebacker. You see Elgin Jenkins is doing a great job trying to leverage so they can cut off the backside. Puts his foot in the ground, talking about Josh Jacobs. Probably one of the really, really good runs early on. And now we see this from Aleem McNeil. I'll show you back. It's like, dude, it's like Hawkinson from Over the Top. When he goes from this to that, man, when he squares up, you got to watch. He just bench presses into the backfield, ends up making the tackle at the line of scrimmage. Really, really good. We saw that on tape all week. You just have to be aware that at that point, he's not trying to penetrate anymore. He's trying to bench press you off and read. Have the play that you want. Unfortunately, pressure equals problems. I think guys are coming off the edge here. So they got 3 guys. Instead of stepping into this throw, he throws off his back heel. And like, it's all casual and it's all great and everybody loves it. Loves the, sometimes not having the footwork and trying with the arm strength, but step into the damn throw and take a shot because, you put this ball on the numbers instead of behind the guy in the rain, he probably catches the ball, you have a first down, maybe you're walking in the end zone. And that's just part of the maturation process. We get and this is like a larger conversation, and it happens to everybody. This isn't just a Jordan Love thing, but just because you get away with stuff doing it a certain way doesn't, like, for the 8 times out of 10 that you get it right, the 2 times out of 10 you get it wrong, you're going to be frustrated. And sometimes, especially that number increases when you're in bad weather conditions, you're playing against an opponent, whatever. So you really got to kind of bear down and make sure you're good with fundamentals. In the pistol, have they found the right combo here? I know that obviously Musgrave is a big part of that conversation, but Simpson doing a hell of a good job. We get 2 single blocks here. We got Kraft on the second level at Anzalone, and Sims does a hell of a job finishing the block there to spring that guy free. I mean, if you can get 2 guys who were just able to tie the linebacker and defensive end, you have a huge opportunity there in the run game. This is still where we're running the football. Anyways, let me look at this play. So I'll go back. So Kraft's got a kind of a cutoff block here. There we go. So he's got inside shade. So that's really, we call that a 7 technique on the tight end. So he's just really trying to base drive, and the tight ends and the defensive end's trying to keep that inside lane. So you can work your hat over a little bit more, Tucker Kraft, to get him to go down a little bit more. Look at the jump cut and getting vertical here. God bless America, he's good. Good player. This right here is this is kind of the sign of things to come. If you aren't going to be aggressive here, on the top of this, you can't hesitate. He who hesitates is lost. You got to go in, stick your head in, and be. You have to be, first to contact, super aggressive, not going to go off the line of scrimmage. Now this is the hit that Brian Branch took out with Melton, and they just kicked out of the game. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really don't like that he got kicked out of the game. I thought it was BS. That's a tough sport. First of all, it's a tough sport. And he's not, like, we've all seen guys trying to murder somebody, and this is not that, right? This is an unfortunate reality of playing a sport at 100 miles an hour. 15-yard penalty, sure. Flag him, sure. But kick him out of the game, that's a bad call for me. It's a tough sport, though. So the screen game, sometimes this is one of those things they should have had to check out of it. So let me go back. So you're always running a shallow cross on the screen game. Shallow cross is going to come from the bottom of the screen here. Anzalone's going to pick him up, but he doesn't really pick him up. The shallow cross is wide-ass open. You got a linebacker on a running back. We saw this for a touchdown 2 games ago, right, in the same end zone. So we'll run this playthrough, and the Packers have to know that 91 and their nose tackle are running this almost like a drop zone where they're gonna loop outside to the gaps because they have to have gap responsibility there. And even though they're not bringing pressure, this kind of acts like a pressure in the sense that those guys are going to be soft. So when you watch this, and I think the Packers do a good job in the sense that they single up. Jordan Morgan doesn't try to get in on the action with anybody. But because they're looping out and they're kind of soft rushing, it's unfortunate you couldn't put this play on the other side. If you would have ran this to the other side, you have a successful play. We got trips down low. And this is the wheels come off. So it's 10-3 ball game, second quarter. You're in a 2-minute drive. You got a lot of options. You had a ton of time. And I think this is the second week in a row, you just kind of give one up here. And you don't that one's tough to watch. We love the over out here. Didn't read, we haven't heard as much from him the last couple of weeks, really kind of highlighting Romeo Dobbs. Jaden Reed's like, hey, don't forget about me. Wide ass open, had 2 really good catches this weekend. Just such a threat. This is my new favorite play. Okay, let's break this one down. And this one play is awesome. All right. Nope. Okay. So first off, they've got 3 guys. Jaden Reed's in the backfield. So right away, you go, okay, what's going on with him? They're going to run a clear route to grab that corner and just run like a seam 9. They're going to pull the guard in play action and show Jacobs going. They're going to take Reed and run the wheel route from the backside to drag the linebacker. And then the real target is just Tucker Kraft coming on the shallow cross on the fake guard pull. That is a fun football play, man. There's a lot of eye candy there. You got the guard pull, which is awesome. You got the drag away from the safety. You got the wheel route by Jaden Reed, which is really probably his first priority if he gets lost. And then you've got the shallow cross. There's no way the linebacker's picking that up when he pulled that guard, man. That is phenomenal. That is a fun play. And Tucker's on my fantasy team. So we'll take all the air we can get. Okay, here we go. Sometimes this happens, right? I'm talking about shit. Sometimes shit happens, man. Forrest Gump it. I mean, come on, boys. Honestly, to get back to the line of scrimmage is pretty impressed by Wilson. I think this went for no gain. This one, I mean, it's like, this is one of those deals where, like, okay, that's not a perfect snap, but, like, who plays outdoors? Like, what do we – that's tough. I wonder – this is one of those things where I'm going to go back and I'm going to ask, do these guys practice outside when it's raining? Yeah. Are they playing with wet football? See, back in Seattle, you practiced outside when it rained at least once a week, and the quarterbacks had to go outside and play with wet footballs and get out, Hasselbeck to be out there, making sure that they could grip it and whatnot. I mean, it's important. I love that he went pistol this week, by the way. Okay. This is another play in the game that you're trying to get back in the game. Your speedster's got the dude he had to slow down. He had him by 5 yards. And it's just kind of you think, bad throw, right? But, I mean, he's about to get absolutely dump trucked here by Liam McNeil. Like, Jordan Morgan steps down too much, opens up, arm chop over, and just gets crushed. And it's like, look, it's easy to point fingers from the armchair, but dude, this guy's taking it right under the chin. And that's why quarterbacks get paid a lot. I mean, good gracious. Tough sport. Another one nice to Jaden Reed. I just like to put the good stuff in here as well, even when you lose. Great throw and catch. But then, we end up with this. Like, turn off the tape, man. Turn off the tape. We don't need to see it anymore. That's why you lose. That's why you score 14 points, because you see how many times are you down in the red zone. It's like, get something out of it. Because defensively, you really held the Lions to 17 points. That deserves victory. You win the game if you walk in and say, hey, Detroit Lions scoring 17 on offense. You win the game? Yep. Absolutely. Goff finished 18 of 22 in the rain, only 145 yards, but a touchdown, no picks. Okay? We didn't see the full arsenal of Ben Johnson's playbook. The Lions, here's what the Lions came in and said. We'll play you wherever you want, whenever you want. This is a Super Bowl game to us. We want to beat the Packers every time we get a chance. We have a better offensive line. We have 2 all-pro caliber running backs. Okay? They finish the game. So they go 32 carries, only 124 yards on 32 carries, less than a 4.0 yard, 3.9 yards per game, something like that. Less than 4. The defense did their job. Second level continued to play high level. I just love watching them. It's a slot game. It's a fun game to watch. I think the hard part, there's a couple questions that come out of this game. We'll talk about it a little bit later. But tape-wise, and this was a fun game to watch. This was not fun. All right, here we go. So Quay Walker's back in, and I know Quay got to, it's so funny what happens, man. You go from thinking like, oh, maybe they're going to split snaps because other people are playing better. And I'm pretty sure you played every snap today. So, and I'll stand by my statement, and it's on, Bruce on tape. Great call here. So they bring the wide receiver in motion. We got the shift over. Kenny Clark's trying to keep the B gap. Quay overruns this thing, or Eric Wilson underruns, but the receiver doesn't even have to go to the second level because he's so adamant about getting there. Wilson is not in a good spot to make that play because he's out there staring at the tight end who blocks out. This is one of those plays where if this is Isaiah Duffy, this is a tackle in the backfield. Okay, so they're just doing a fold technique. So the fold technique is Penny Sewell's going to hit. Actually, he just watched the hand swipe by Penny Sewell. He just drops Lucas Van Ness right here with his hands, and then they fold around Laporta in college. I kind of college. I said he had the best technique of any time in the draft. He did his job, especially on Quay this weekend. But you see this, and right now, you see that guy back. Go, man. Go. Just go. Got to win that one. So anytime you have that big of a kind of movement around, sometimes it screws up the pass rush as far as line shifting. But you get a corner versus a tight end here. Laporta's a great player, and this is Stokes. So you're thinking to yourself, like, I should feel pretty good about this matchup just from a coverage standpoint. But you can't beat a really well-thrown football. Stokes has good coverage here. Can't beat a really well-thrown football. Thrown with a great anticipation there on before the break, excuse me. Okay. This is how this game works. You see that everybody, I think it was watching tape, can see the Cardinals is going to try to play over the side of the center. That means Cooper's going down to the A gap. Someone's got to play over the top here, boys. Okay? Someone's got to play over the top. Someone's got to play over the top, boys. Go. Great job here. I think this is Brooks by defeating the double. So these two guys are making a living on the backside of double team and getting guys off that off the spot, off the line of scrimmage, creating huge space and separation. Carl Brooks does a great job of just turning the double into a single and then stopping at the line of scrimmage so guys can get in. That was a phenomenal job. This move's not really even fair. I mean, it's really not a fair move. So you got the motion, and then he's got like the stutter with the out. It's kind of a BS. He turns around, and then he does a whirl, and then they throw a back shoulder. And it's like you had me until back shoulder because I thought it was a really stupid route until I saw where he caught it. Oh, man, it's impossible. Tough. It's not even fair. Great ball placement. They kiss the ball in the rain, too. It's nuts. Crazy. I wonder what they're using for, like, tack, man. This is sneaky. So I don't know if McDuffie's triggering because he's supposed to trigger or he's trying to catch up with Gibbs before Gibbs, trying to make Gibbs block him so that they can't get him out in the route. But whatever they're doing, the Lions know about it. And so Gibbs fakes, goes out, catches in the flat, and it's like, okay, he caught the ball at the, 5 to 6? And Quay's fast, right? but he still gets the ball past the 20. And that dude is a speedster. Great play call. Yeah, so I had to check the roster on old 5'3" Mosby. Aaron Mosby, cousin of Ted. Didn't know who he was. So obviously, Penei Sewell gets tripped up here. Let's not make it anything more than it is. It happens to everybody. But hey, man, kid comes in, gets the sack. It's a good deal. Appreciation post loading here for my man Isaiah McDuffie. Okay, so his eyes are at the tight end who he knows. You look at this tight end, you look at that tight end, you know that one of them is going to come across, the other one's not. Isaiah McDuffie sees it. Here's the call. And watch the play speed here. That's awesome, man. Now, I know he doesn't make the tackle right there, but talk about stopping a guy in the backfield and then rallying on the tackle, man. That was a fantastic play. Now, this is, again, not fair. What I mean by that is Penei Sewell at 350 pounds, or whatever the hell he weighs, should not be able to do this. He blocks two dudes, and the second one is out on the slot. 1, 2. Are you kidding me? That should be illegal. It's highway robbery. Illegal under center. We'll watch this from the end zone. Boys, you got one job here. So backside, you're the 4-eye-3 technique, whatever you want to call it, okay? Backside, your B gap. Now they're going to walk Eric Wilson down, which means he's supposed to spike. He's laid off the ball. He's so laid off the ball that the left tackle actually runs by him. Closes the door, 9 minutes. Okay, here's the other thing. On the second level, we've just been super physical lately, right? You know, got to get back to it. This is a really good offensive line. Really good. This is what I'm talking about. This is your gap. This gap, I put a lot of arrows there because I want everybody to know that that's his gap. And if your gap is trying to be compromised by a tight end, like, you know, you got to win this. This is a battle you got to win. Eric Stokes is on the outside. It's okay. Just stick your nose in there and get that gap. What can't happen is they get that backside B. Look at the hole, man. I mean, you got to make him cut. You got to make him do something. That's tough. Look at this. Look at this Van Ness stance, bro. I didn't notice that. Man, where do you think he's going to do? Jesus. All right, here we go. Kenny Clark almost makes a play. So this is, I think it was like 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. Late in the game, they kind of needed a stop right here. And Kenny does such a good job, man. It's such a great effort. Sheds a block, gets on the play side of Penei Sewell. And unfortunately, we get double teamed here. And I think that's Sean. We get double teamed, and then we just can't quite make this play right here. But man, Kenny put a great effort in. That was fantastic. The problem is the very next play. Like, this isn't right, boys. So we got a stunt out by our left, the right defensive tackle, and then the linebacker over the top hits A gap. Now on the other side, either the linebacker or the defensive tackle is incorrect here. Not both players can be going to the A gap. They're both trying to get across, and because there's nobody back there, first down makes the play. And you know, that ended up being the nail in the coffin. So it goes. The Lions are a really good football team. When you drop a game against a good football team, it sucks that you drop a game at home, obviously. But I think more to the point of, you know, there's some things that are going on in the game that you want to be able to remedy. Being able to not play outside, I think, is a problem. Fumbling the snaps, problem. The pick six is, I mean, quarterback plays well, you play well, as is always. He didn't have his best game. He's a really good player, and all that stuff will come around. Is there anything, you know, outside of that you want to point to and say these are areas of opportunity? Yeah, there's always like little things in these little technique games that can improve the individual player. The only thing you probably think about is like, could you run the ball a little more, given the fact that Jacobs was doing so well early on? Now they did switch and try to bring that safety down later in certain situations, but it just didn't. The feel of the game was that you didn't really get an opportunity to go back to the well there, and maybe it's because the game was moving, progressing so quickly that coach thought, maybe I need to throw the ball around the yard a little more, but it was unfortunate. Unfortunate. Let me get you guys with a couple of questions before we get out of here. Last week we saw Bradley Bozeman protect his quarterback from a dirty hit. Do you have stories of you ever having to go Bozeman on an opposing defender? Well, let's see. Yeah, not with the Packers. The best one for the Packers was Earl Dotson. I forgot who we went after. They hit Brett late. Earl Dotson just went over and just clamored. I mean, we didn't even know what was going on. Just clamoring it. The one that I was involved in, probably the most relevant one, was we were trying to kneel the ball in the second round of the playoffs when I was in Carolina. Tommy Harris jumps over the pile. I love Tommy Harris, by the way. He was playing the Bears. Tommy jumps over the pile and jumps through he goes through the pile on the other side, and everyone starts talking trash. So we have to kneel the ball one more time. So he jumps the next time, and I jump. And we just launch and just start going at it. We have a little melee at the end of the game. Tommy and I were like, we really, really respected each other too, but he was so angry. So angry. Those are fun days, man. Is Van Ness progressing at all? This is a tough. Listen. He's going to give you what he's going to give you from an effort and like a physical great standpoint. Still doesn't have really good pass rush moves. Hasn't demonstrated them, at least if he does have them. This is not a game to watch as far as how is that going to play out on the field. I love his play speed. I love the physicality he tries to bring. I think just again, I've said this before, and it's not a knock on anybody. It's not your fault where you get drafted, but the expectations being a 13th pick in the draft is the reality of who you are. At least in this stage, is those don't match up, and that's part of the deal. How can they fix the pre-snap penalties there beyond frustrating? Man, I'm telling you, it's so hard to hold your water sometimes. Pre-snap stuff, I can't. It's so it turns into like its own animal. Like I got into the situation later in my career where we no longer snap the ball in a snap count on like a rhythm count. So it was like with like Brett, it would be like Louis Teen said go, and by the time he said set go, the ball was almost handed off. So you're kind of doing everything in rhythm. When you don't have that anymore, or when you're in these different cadences, sometimes just to hold your water is really, really difficult. I think the other thing you see here, and I don't think I highlighted it I didn't highlight it today, but I should have. There are some times in our run game where we're literally going to the wrong guy, and I think part of that is that there's obviously a lot of concepts, but I think a lot of concepts are similar. But the point and then the responsibility of the wide receiver in the run game is pretty important in LaFleur's offense. In other words, they're in the box blocking the safety a lot, like doing a lot of crack stuff. So because of that, and because of the point changing, I think sometimes, particularly at the tackle position, you don't always get the right guy. I think it happened on a toss crack with Zach Tom this week, where he and the receiver just kind of blocked the end instead of him pulling around the receiver to block the linebacker and making the play in the backfield, maybe play a lot of scrimmage. So I think those things happen maybe more than you're used to seeing if you're watching the game from like I try to watch it real closely. But I think a lot of that is obviously practice time. But the other thing is that you have so many more people involved on a constant basis. It just needs a lot of reps. How would you teach Walker to just react and stop getting washed out and blocked in the run game? Yeah, so talk about this one. So like tonight I'll be working with some guys, and we're going to work on block destruction. And it's really about, it's about it's about identifying, but it's also like there's very good footwork, body position, hand placement, everything that if you do that, it becomes automatic. You get really good at the stuff. And if you don't do it, you don't get very good at it. I think, and I've talked about this before, I think the biggest thing for him is if you want to be good at something, you got to get in your comfort zone and really go train it. I have no idea, But the proof's in the pudding as far as what you put it on tape. And I think maybe that's something you get work on. What does practice week look like after a loss after that? This guy says too many JV football mistakes. I don't know about that. The drop balls thing, the drop balls. Listen, all of the stuff that didn't happen to the Lions as much as it did the Packers is just supremely frustrating, because you think like, Jesus Christ, guys, we live here. This is our field. This is our weather. Your cleats, like, I know Gordon's gone, but they have great staff that's going to tell you wear these cleats, wear these kind of gloves, all that stuff. So to not be on point is really frustrating. I don't know, and I've talked about this ad nauseum for the last couple of years. Like, you just don't know with this head coach or this style or this generation. You just don't know if that practice changes that much. It has to come from the locker room as far as attention to detail, as far as competitive greatness and competitive excellence, and trying to get the most out of those opportunities versus kind of going through the motions. This team seems to enjoy competing against one another. I think certainly the guys on defense do. And I get the feeling generally that the Lions are probably a better. Like, if you looked at the rosters of the Lions versus the Packers, I can build a strong case that the Lions are a better football team, and so they probably deserve to win some of these games until the Packers, improve, develop, draft some more people, etc. I think that's not knocking anybody. It's just that's the reality of the game. So there's no reason to get too upset when a better team beats you. You obviously like to win, but they were the better team. They weren't expected to win, and they did get the win. Love your analysis. Thank you. As a Packer fan, but I think a lot of what we see this year is a super young team learning to be pros. Yeah, no doubt. What do the Packers have to do to play better? I think continue to develop, and I think the hard part about football is kind of throwing the baby out of the bathwater sometimes, where you want to just erase a game or knock it from your memory, or just not, just say like, oh well, because it was raining or this, that, the other. And it's like, well, if that's the case, it's going to rain again, or we're going to find adverse situations again. And what do we do to improve that our performance in those adverse situations? What do we do from a standpoint of how we're preparing? What do we do from an equipment standpoint? What do we do from a game plan standpoint from the coach? Like, what adjustments do we make? Do we know that certain players are better in the game than others? We know that we can lean on some guys more than others. Are there matchups in this game that we should have exploited maybe some more than others? There's always an opportunity to learn, and I think the teams that do that are really going to ones that have success. Is there a way to charge players money-wise according to the number of penalties they've made? No. Oh my God, that'd be terrible. I mean, it's great, but it's a good idea. No. Question: discipline, especially on the line, penalty critical situations seem to be an issue. In your experience, is this something that can be cleaned up in a few weeks, or we likely keep seeing it, and you thought as to why? Great question. On both sides of the ball, unfortunately, it seems like, in my experience, once it got, because, let's say on the defensive side of the ball, if you're going to get a couple offsides calls every once in a while because you're super aggressive, but then you make a couple plays in the backfield, like changing that person's behavior, even if you could do some like analysis that said, the yards that you're giving up aren't worth the tackles for loss. That guy, the guy's gonna be like, yes, financially they are. Like that makes sense. So I think that is it's tough for a Tiger to change the stripes in the middle of season. On the other side of the ball, I think in theory it's relatively easy to stop jumping off sides or something. I have a procedure done. But I'll just tell you firsthand, practically, what ends up happening is when let's say you have one or maybe you have two in a game, you start thinking, you don't want to think about it, but it creeps into the back of your head. And everything in football is like the rule of three. So if like one bad thing happens, three bad things are going to happen. And people get that into their minds. And so it's like, okay, I got to stop the second one. But all you think about now is the second one. And then I got to stop the third one. Like, oh, shoot, two happened. And I know three are going to happen in the game because that's the rule. It's like, we're as superstitious as we could, superstitious as we could possibly be. But generally speaking, I think from week to week, there's a real opportunity to improve on the offensive side of the ball in particular. Quay returned and played 100% of the snaps. Do you think defense is best with him on the field? I just referred to last week's game. I don't think so. I think that when they put personnel in based on the personnel and formations of the other team. I think they tend to do better. We talked about it last week. We talked about so like McDuffie suffered the most from a rep standpoint as opposed to Cooper. I think is what it looked like. Wilson's playing really well. McDuffie's 2 games ago didn't have missed some tackles. Cooper got player of the week last week, even though just from a processing mental standpoint, maybe he didn't have a perfect game by any means. But when you get NFC player of the week, probably playing the next week. So that's stuff. Elgin takes some heat, but I don't see Gary Preston or Aaron Barr putting up big numbers either. Are they not winning their matchup? Or is it? This is just. Let's just say this. I think he asked if the Owen half is asking to do. I'm sure everybody's trying to win, without a doubt. I don't know how detailed their pass rush plans are. For Jared Goff, they probably don't have a pass rush plan, but he had 22 passes, 18 to 22. He's throwing short balls. We get rid of the ball fast. It's a really good offensive line, and it's muddy out. The muddy team, the team that's the people that suffer the most from the field being muddy are the defensive line, because their physical advantage of getting off the ball has gone away compared to the offensive line. It takes away their advantage. That's why we like playing in the rain. It takes away their advantage. So I think the Packers have a bye week coming up, but I really don't have an idea. I think that's true. So I hope everybody out there enjoys, if that is the case, enjoys a bye week. Hit me up with any questions. Thanks to our sponsors, betonline.ag. And I think it's Vote Tuesday, so get out there and vote.